Hello, welcome. Just driving into town. I live in the sticks. Living in the sticks. Now, this is me just sort of going off the cuff as usual. I watched a couple videos on the concept of sexual transmutation by a couple of people talking about it. One of them is Sasha's Cold, and the other one was Immortal something. Both of them are very inspirational black speakers who are speaking to men about how or what it is to be a man, and what they had to say about sexual transmutation was something that spoke to me pretty strongly, because the energy that I've always had, for the sexual energy that I've always had, I've always felt been like way too intense. Like it's dominated my life, and because I haven't transmuted it, I've fucked my life up straight up. I will be honest with you. I have fucked my life up 6 ways to Sunday. I got involved with a chick who already had a kid, so I made mistake number fucking 1 was this chick already had a kid. She had this kid when she was 19. So, I mean, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. But I ignored all that shit because I wanted some pussy. And I'll be honest with you, she seemed like a sure thing. And it was. She was a sure thing. I talked to her over Facebook, then we started talking over the phone. She came over to my place. I fucked her then. My life was on the fucking upswing, man. I was already writing my book. Shit was looking like I was going to just keep on going up and up. And I didn't have a car, I didn't have a phone. Like, I had a computer, I had a shit computer. I didn't have my shit together. I was still pulling in, able to get laid, but I mean, not by any female that had any value, and I didn't understand what that even meant, really. I didn't care. I just wanted something, someone, some female to put all of my sexual energy onto, so I could feel a release from this. It felt like a fucking prison, man. It was just so intense, and so I was enslaved by it, you know? So months go by, I end up trying to move up to where she's living. Early on in that shit, I'm like she's living with her mom, man, and so she's like very low value. I was going after low value because that was all I felt like I could get, when in all actuality, I just wasn't even putting myself out there. I wasn't really trying to be like an alpha male type of persona. I was just trying to find whatever I could, because low self-esteem, all kinds of shit, man. The worst of the worst, basically, is what I had. So she cheated on me with some dude early on, and it was through text messages that she was sending, like, you know, vag pics and tits pics and all this shit. So, I mean, she was doing what guys do. Like, it was fucking crazy, and I caught it because he was like sending messages to her at like fucking, she's passed out, and I'm like, you know, damn, I'm trying to fall asleep, and here is this phone being blown up, and I look at it, and it's this dude, you know, who's like way more burly and shit than I am, and he's fucking, you know, just out of prison, evidently, is what she ended up telling me, or whatever. Like this, the typical shit. And I confront her about it. This fucking pissed me off. Like, what the fuck? I've just wasted all this time, all this energy trying to be with this chick, and then her response is, it's my fault, basically. It's my fault because her emotional connection with me had deteriorated and she didn't feel like I was the one, and yada yada. So we sort of reconcile that shit because I was a fucking idiot. Straight up. So she and I both, I'm trying to find I ended up staying at a place that was a friend of hers ex-boyfriend's. And what I didn't realize is she was using me living there. She ended up using me living there. She was like, no, fuck this. We're broken up. This is like months into it and everything. Fuck this. I'm breaking up with you. I don't want to be with you anymore. But she would still want to be my friend because I had a place nearby that she could take dudes to fuck around with. She fucking used me in the worst way possible, and it fucking ripped my heart into a million fucking pieces, man. I'll tell you that much. I was just laying there. She was up on like the roof of this place, and I'm just fucking like sobbing, like, what the fuck did I do to deserve this shit? And I did everything to deserve it. I did everything to deserve it. I was a fucking idiot. Fucking idiot. So I end up, the last straw was really her going out and being with my friends that I introduced her to. And she's basically replaced me as the friend in that situation. So I'm like, fuck this. Fuck this. You have taken everything from me. I'm fucking leaving. I'm going to live back in Westminster or whatever, where I live. So I go back to living with a friend of mine, who was kind enough to like take me in after that shit. Started working at wherever the fuck would take me. I was hanging out with I was at a party and somebody was working at, like, one of the managers at a Pizza Hut. So it was, hey, you know, we could apply to there. I'll totally hire you. So I ended up doing that, working at a Pizza Hut. One of the young girls that was there, she's like 20, I'm like 28 or whatever. She starts taking an interest in me. And not long after that, you know, I'm flirting with her, she's flirting with me. She ends up she's like, come with me to my place. And, you know, I fucked her then, and it was great. It was like the full release from that prison that I had been trapped in for so fucking long, with thinking about the previous person that I had been with and everything. And this girl looked like Taylor Swift, bro. God damn, she was beautiful. But she's a girl, man, you know? She's a fucking girl. So she's flittered around. You know, we had sex, flittered around, you know? And I'm like, all right, well, whatever. And then comes my ex being like, oh, take me back. And whatever. And really all I wanted to do was give her some revenge fuck. So I revenged fucked her. I basically was like, I'll fuck you, but that's the last goddamn time, you know? I'm not gonna be with somebody who is like you. I'm not gonna be with somebody like you, you know? So when she heard that, she ended up taking that and running with it, getting drunk. This is what at least she told me, and honestly, I don't even know the full story. I have people that have like shunned me because I didn't initially investigate the full story, and I regret it. But basically, she told me that she had sex with some guy drunk, and really it was him. She told me that she was raped by this guy because she was drunk and he took advantage of her. But that's a likely story. I don't know if that's necessarily true. All I know is she tells me months later that she's pregnant. Now, I had sex with her in a sort of time, and I think I did bust a nut inside of her as well. So there's a good chance that, you know, at least in my mind at the time when she was telling me this shit, that it could be my kid. But she was basically telling me she was pregnant and shit, and that me hearing this, I'm not the kind of guy to just fucking be like, well, fuck you, because my concern isn't about her really at that point. It's about the child. And at that specific time in my life, I was like, philosophically speaking, I'm talking about raising children. I'm talking about how to best raise children for society and for culture. So I'm like, well, fuck. Maybe the best option is for us to get married and for me to help you to raise that kid. Big fucking mistake. Now, I do love my, I at this point, I am raising this kid. It's 3 years later. Fuck me. Fuck me. Now, I'm attached to the kid. The kid's attached to me. I love that little girl more than anything in the whole fucking world, man. I would kill, I would die, I would be tortured for that kid, for her sake. I would do anything for her. And it's my own fault. It's my own fault I've gotten to this point. I have friends that have totally rejected me now because I won't stand up for myself in that way and just move past it and get the fuck out. I don't even know if the kid's mine genetically, but I know that it doesn't fucking matter to me at this point. It didn't matter to me very early on, honestly, anyway. And it just lingered on long enough because she was like, I want to get married. But I read something, you know, women think about marriage as a moment, as like the wedding day, not as supporting the man throughout their whole life. And that's essentially what that was to her. It was just her planning her little wedding day out and not giving a fuck at all about me and what I needed to be, the man that I needed to be in order to support all of that shit. It was all about her. And the biggest thing that drove a wedge between us is the fact that she was smoking while she was pregnant, and then afterwards she got off breastfeeding as quickly as possible, started drinking. Ended up, I found her passed out, the baby was crying. I wake up, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Go downstairs, and here she is, passed out on the floor. She had fallen off the couch because she was sleeping on the couch. God knows fucking why, man. God knows why. Sleeping on the couch downstairs instead of upstairs with me with the baby in a crib or some shit. Instead, she's passed out, drunk as fuck, I find out almost immediately afterwards. She fell on the baby. She had fallen on the baby. The baby's crying, hurt clearly. I do what I can to get the baby up. I'm holding the baby, and I'm just like, you are the biggest piece of shit in the entire world that I can think of, honestly. Yeah. And so I'm just like, you know, what the fuck? What the fuck is this, honestly? Now, this is all I'm only saying this shit so that people have an understanding of why it's important to avoid getting into a relationship when you're not ready. When you're not at your peak of masculine energy and power. You've got to reach that before you ever even think about having a relationship with a woman, because at that point you aren't ready and you aren't capable of having that. Anything that's going to spawn from that is going to be the worst